Welcome everyone to our info session with BRON Studios. Happy to see that everyone is joining us this afternoon. Feel free to share in the chat where you're tuning in from. That's always fun. My name is Marion Andrew with the Spark CG Society, and I'm very excited to be here to introduce this great discussion. It's going to be a great panel and introduction to BRON, if you're not already aware who they are. Shocking, I know. Before we get started, I wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Our Terabyte sponsor, Creative BC, our Megabyte sponsors, AMPD Technologies, Animal Logic, Capilano University, and Netflix. Our Kilobyte sponsors, Atomic Cartoons, Bardell Entertainment, BRON, DNEG, Mainframe Studios, and Sony Pictures Imageworks. Our Byte sponsors, AMD Canada, Animasia Animation, the Center for Digital Media, CMPA BC, the DigiBC, Foundry, Ghost VFX, NGX Interactive, Nox VFX, Scanline VFX, The Little Dev Shop, Unreal Engine, Versatile Media, and the Wacom Store Canada, and our partners, ACM SIGGRAPH. Before we get started, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. And if you have questions for today's panelists, I urge you to pop those into the Q&A section. You can start popping those in there right now, and we'll get to them in the Q&A section of the webinar at the end of the presentation. For now, I'm going to throw it over to Marion, who will introduce herself and the studio.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for attending today. We are super happy to be chatting a little bit about our company with you and answer any questions you might have. So I'm going to share my screen and start with a little presentation. Then we will show you a quick video, and then I'm going to introduce my colleagues, Jason and Monifa. So sharing my screen right now. So yeah, let me tell you a little bit about BRON Digital. So just first of all, I've been at BRON for about 3 years now. I'm the HR manager. So BRON started basically with Aaron and Brenda Gilbert. So if you take the 2 first letters of BRON, these are actually the 2 first letters of Brenda. And if you take the 2 last letters of BRON, these are the 2 last letters of Aaron. And why? Because Aaron and Brenda are a Canadian married couple, and they co-founded BRON together. So Aaron is our chairman and CEO, and Brenda is our president. Just a very brief company history to give you an overview if you don't know that yet. So BRON started in 2010. We started mainly with live action, and we were co-financing movies such as Birth of a Nation, Fences, and then 1 year after, BRON Animation was created. So BRON Animation is the one that usually you guys know in Vancouver or in Canada. This is when we were doing very traditional CG animated content. The last movie that we released was The Willoughbys on Netflix in 2020. And then after we released The Willoughbys, we created BRON Digital. We have the team today that will speak a little bit more about BRON Digital, what we are doing, the difference between what we were doing before with BRON Animation and what we do now under BRON Digital. So still doing animation, but different way of producing and created animated content. So we will share with you right now a quick BRON Digital presentation. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And let's have the video.
Hello, are you listening? You're watching, yeah? Right. Once upon a time, that's how all stories start, but this is better than most. This is a good story.
Fables is a virtual production-based animation project that is using the Unreal Engine to retell classical tales like Tortoise and the Hare, Three Little Pigs, Boy Who Cried Wolf. We built out an international virtual production-based workflow using Unreal at the core, with teams in New Zealand. We have our animation teams in Vancouver, and we have actually built a small motion capture stage in our LA offices.
We started looking at getting involved with Unreal because we wanted to tell many different stories and be able to tell those stories in an efficient way, and this by far was the best way for us to do that. And this pipeline allowed us to move really quickly, efficiently, and to be able to work from home, and a virtual pipeline that allowed us to sort of bring incredible artists together from around the world.
It allowed us to actually tap into our live action crew members, and now they can step in without it being intimidating. They're able to sit and actually make creative decisions in real time through a video chat.
Yeah, nothing better than directing from your kitchen table. You know, it's pretty amazing to capture all this unbelievable stuff and do that from home remotely. It's an amazing pipeline.
Fables is unique in itself, where it has 8 episodes that are completely isolated episodes. So every single episode has a brand new storyline, brand new environments. From the get-go, we actually started thinking about this as one cohesive world called Little Hamilton. We made sure that this was an open world. It had many textures, many environments, many locations, but one central hub that was Little Hamilton, so that we can always come back to it and discover new parts. And that from a multiple season perspective too. It's like we're creating the universal backlot.
The efficiency of this pipeline, what it gives us in real time, is just nothing that we've ever been able to use before.
In our workflow, we actually go through a virtual camera process. And at full steam, with one operator, we could get through over 125 camera setups a day.
He'll text me and say, hey, look at this. And then 4 minutes later, he'll say, well, how about this? And an hour later, he'll say, how about this? Just not an experience I've ever had with animation. It's not possible.
What we're really trying to aim for is trying to get as far as we can in the engine, because it provides us with so many tools. We are running through a traditional DI pass, but the goal is to get as final image out of the engine as possible. When you put someone into a session and, oh, by the way, we can paint clouds. Oh, you want to paint in God rays, you want to tweak this animation, you want to do this and that, just to make the image more beautiful. And then you have this sense of panic. It's like, I've been doing things the wrong way for my entire life.
For me, one of the many exciting things about producing in this real-time environment, it starts with that TV series, but then on top of that series will be the games, will be the merch, will be licensing, will be music, will be publishing. We get to do all these other things with these same assets, like wow.
That's where Unreal really shows its true potential.
There is nothing else on the marketplace, nor is there currently, that could compete with just what's available to us inside the Unreal Engine.
I think Unreal is the most filmmaker-centric engine out there.
We're just getting started. We're not limited by anything other than our imagination, and that's good fun.
Yeah, so this was a quick video presentation. So let me introduce you guys to Monifa and Jason. I'm going to share my screen again. All right, so Monifa Andrew is our VP of Visual Effects. Monifa started with us as a line producer or producer on one of our shows and grew up to this VP Visual Effects position. So Monifa has worked in the industry across film, TV, and animation for the last 10 years. She worked in the UK and then Canada. She started as a runner, and she has worked on projects such as John Wick, Parabellum, Blade Runner 2049, and Star Trek Discovery. Obviously, she continues to be driven by the technological creativity of our ever-evolving industry. Hi, Monifa. And we have Jason Chen here that you just saw in the video. So Jason has about 15 years plus of industry experience, and he began his career on the Avatar, working for BRON Digital. And he's a virtual production expert. He has supported technical VFX integration for creatives such as Jim Cameron, Peter Jackson, Steven Spielberg, and other, and worked on the Marvel as well, supported Marvel Studio. His projects have included Jojo Rabbit, Real Steel, Star Wars Episode 7, Bumblebee, and Thor Ragnarok. Thor. So yeah, let me leave now Jason chat a little bit about BRON Digital as well as Monifa.
Great. Thanks, Marion. Well, welcome you, everybody. It's so great to see so many, some familiar names in the attendees today. So welcome. We are, much like what we said in the promo, that was actually a spotlight piece that was that we did in collaboration with Epic Games. We're a virtual production-based facility and producing high-end linear animation content using a variety of virtual production techniques such as motion capture, virtual cameras, and really trying to merge and create new workflows for the betterment of high-end animation through taking the best bits of animation workflows, visual effects workflows, live action workflows, and even video games and interactive workflows. So we really love to emphasize the collaborative spirit, especially since we're in a state right now where we can work from home almost across the world, but and really kind of capturing that collaborative sensibility when you're working from home is sometimes difficult. So we try our best to create as much of a team effort as possible. So so yeah, a little bit of the background of how we kind of came to be is that, you know, I come from live action visual effects, obviously, and we were on set with Aaron and Brenda at 3 in the morning in the desert in New Mexico on a live action Angelina Jolie film. And we were talking about the future of animation and how it is changing and evolving, and utilizing game engines is really the way of the future. And we started just kind of brainstorming, and much like any kind of company or idea that comes about, it started out with a conversation, a laugh, and let's see how we can do this. Lo and behold, fast forward to March of 2020 when lockdown happened, we had already started these conversations, and I had started at BRON as a consultant for setting up remote workflows. When everyone went into lockdown, we were actually able to move forward on projects. So the project that you're seeing here, Fables, was actually green-lit the same month that the world went dark. So in doing that, we were able to ramp up a lot of artists using Unreal at the center of everything to really collaborate and create these worlds, and also create a sense of camaraderie across the globe, with a third of our workforce being in New Zealand, a third in Los Angeles, and a third in Vancouver. We really kind of learned how to work within timeframes, and at that point we went from a team of probably 12 people, and in fast forward to today, we have over 200 employees all across the globe that are literally collaborating every single day, working together to produce some amazing content out of the engine. And that's kind of a perfect segue to Monifa, who's been heading up a lot of our production efforts across shows. We have 3 active shows that are going on right now, looking for talented individuals and open-minded individuals that really thrive in creatively ambitious projects. But yeah, more on that from Monifa's perspective as what we're looking for.
Thank you, Jason. So yeah, I mean, Jason's given a very good overview in terms of how BRON Digital started and from its roots. And I think I came on August 2020 after having a fair amount of conversations with Jason, of, you know, giving me the idea of what the company would be like and what we're striving to. And it was an easy yes in terms of where we're going, especially with the company and industry and, you know, again, technology completely. So yeah, as Jason said, we the main thing was gathering workflows from animation, workflows from VFX, workflows from live action. But that also means grabbing all different crew members for that as well. So we have amalgamation of people from live action, like Jason himself. Our art directors and production designers have been on set on multiple projects. We have team members from VFX, which include myself. I'm from a VFX background. We also have artists and supervisors from animation, and also people, importantly as well, from the game side. So it's a different type of process than what we are used to usually, in terms of each of them being separate, but they are now combined into one when we're working at BRON Digital. There's no element of a different portion of the industry that we're not using right now. You know, we use processes for shoot. We use processes that we would use in the game engine. We use processes for animation and VFX. So it's wonderful because it allows us to not only incorporate this in our projects, but learn from different industries and different people within there. You know, we've got people from the game side talking to the live action. So it allows us with our projects to really go in depth in terms of the work that we're doing. We also have our large pipeline team that is, again, based in Vancouver. They're pushing through in terms of us starting with our art department in terms of the work. You've seen a little snippet of it within the video. The artwork for environments, for characters that we have going. Then we push into our mocap shoot, which again has been shown in our video. The mocap shoot is allowing us obviously to take all of these trained actors that are coming from multiple different projects such as Avatar to work up in our projects, and then for us to push that into post within VFX and animation and see it come into these beautiful pictures. So, you know, that's part of our process here at BRON. And also in terms of the workforce and the people that we have working from home is, it's challenging at first because, you know, you're not sure what's going to happen. It's the anticipation, but we've worked so well with each other, as well as working well with each other with different time zones combined, and creating a structure and a process through that. Again, we have people in the US, in Canada, in New Zealand, also in Australia, and some members in India and also Mexico. So we work hard to make sure that everyone feels included and incorporated, not just in the process of making a project, but also in terms of being part of the team and making sure that even though we're not in the office, we're still members of a crew, as we like to do certain things for that. So yeah, that's our process as we go.
Thanks, Monifa. So this ties super well with the next slide, which is about the culture at BRON right now. So obviously, as you all know, pre-COVID, everything was a lot of fun. We had, you know, pets coming to the office. We were obviously dog friendly at the studio. We had events here and there. We had, you know, huge gathering. We had bowling nights and Halloween contests. So we were doing all sorts of things, which we hope one day we'll be able to do again. We had also salsa class and everything, which was pretty amazing. But actually, you know, now we are also doing very cool stuff. Like we had recently a cooking class online where everybody could join, and, you know, some had their ingredients shipped to their place, or some just bought their ingredients and joined. We were all on a Zoom meeting together, cooking amazing tacos and other things. We have fitness classes online as well. There is a super cool weekly meeting that Jason is leading every time on Friday. So it's called Aloha Friday. And it's really amazing because all the artists of BRON Digital are showing what they've been doing during the week. So Jason is usually like, okay, Fables, you're first, show us a little bit of lighting, and then show number 2, you're second, show us a little bit of animation, show number 3, show us your design. So it's really, really cool to have all these people from all over the place sharing the love of what they've been doing and their projects. So I'm joining sometimes, and I see a lot of passion, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, so we've been doing these things like that. We have obviously our crew in the office. We've been doing recently, now that, you know, frontiers have opened a little bit. We had Jason coming to town, and we had some dinners all together, which was really fun to meet each other in person. So in terms of hiring, right now we have several roles that are open, and we would love to fill this job as soon as possible. So we have UE finishers, which are lighters, for 2 of our shows to start as soon as possible. We have a lot of needs in animation. So any level, mid, senior, junior, lead, very important. And then we have also one VFX, slash CG supervisor, one character TD, senior or lead rigger, pipeline TD. I'm also looking to hire someone in our HR team in recruitment, because as you can see, we have a lot going on at BRON. So we need a bit of help with this. A senior level designer for our interactive division, a lead gameplay programmer as well for our interactive division, a virtual production coordinator, and an animation sup. So as you can see, a lot of hires, a lot happening at BRON. We are always ramping up and always happy to receive your application. I'm gonna cover a few things right now before we go to the Q&A, because I know these are questions that I often receive. So we do have offices in Vancouver, in Burnaby, and also in LA, but we have employees working from everywhere in the US, everywhere in Canada, and also New Zealand. So our employees in Canada and the US, they are all connecting through their own machine, and they are using a Teradici license to connect remotely. So they don't have to worry about, licenses and, apps, etc. We provide this for all our employees. So we have people from a lot of states in USA, even states that I actually didn't know they were existing, and everywhere in Canada as well. We usually work PST, so we try to, as Monifa was saying, we try to accommodate obviously as much as we can with people that are EST or New Zealand, but our business hours are PST. We can sponsor Canadian work permits for senior artists. It takes a while, so usually we do sponsor that only if the role is to start later on, because as you guys know, it's been taking a long time for work permits to be approved, unfortunately, since the pandemic. But we are still working with this. Our recruiters, so there is Andrea Cruz in our team. She's our talent acquisition coordinator. Feel free to connect with her on LinkedIn. She usually is the first point of contact for all the hires. And there is me also. You feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to add you and discuss about our opportunities. I think that's it on my end. I don't know if you have anything, Jason, Monifa, to add before we go to the questions.
I just want to add one thing. Yes, we have a lot of exciting projects going on right now and focusing on linear content. So episodic television, bringing the high quality standards of feature film, our feature filmmaking background into high-end animation episodic series. But outside of that, like we mentioned in the video, we are, and as you saw in the job positions, our interactive division is also ramping up quite quickly. So there's a lot of exciting things happening for the future, and there's always the constant role of work and exciting projects coming along. And I think if you are a collaborator, open to learning, and also open to loving film and TV and entertainment that we do, then this is definitely the right place for you. At the end of the day, out of all of this talent, story is the most important to us at BRON. So without a story, you can have all the technology in the world, but without a story, you don't have anything. So we really pride ourselves on being storytellers first, and then and then creators and technicians after the fact, and rely heavily on the artistic input of all our teams. Doesn't matter who you are or what your role is. Everyone's opinion is valid regardless. So I'll leave it with that.
I was like, that was such a beautiful ending. I was like, wow. I was like, we're also looking for production assistants, I would say, as well. And again, yeah, exactly what Jason said. I think we want openness with our employees to share with them, but also to have their opinions. So thank you.
So let's jump into some questions. We have quite a few already in the Q&A. So let's start right at the beginning. Israel asks, is BRON considering at the moment recent graduates and non-residents? I think you kind of answered a little bit of that, Marion.
So recent graduates, absolutely. We have a lot of junior animator position open. So yes, it's harder for us to provide work permit for junior though. So usually the work permits are for more senior positions. So if you have, for example, a OPT or you have a visa and you can work after you graduate as an international student, that's awesome for us.
Awesome. Somebody actually in the chat asked if they can apply from an Asian country. I assume so, but
from where? Sorry.
Asian countries in general.
I think it's it's obviously if we can provide a work permit for them, yes, but we have basically we are working with a Teradici reach, so usually for outside of New Zealand where we have a hub, it's harder for us to hire people that are outside New Zealand, Canada, and the US, unfortunately, unless we provide a work permit and they come to Canada.
We actually had a couple of questions that came in via email prior to the session, and one of them is from Devi, and she asks, are there opportunities for sound designers and composers at BRON? What is the best way for a composer to introduce their work to you?
I'll take that one. Yes, I mean, the great thing is that our division, we handle everything from creative development, writing, all the way through till final delivery. So always looking for aspiring upcoming talent. And we have a ton of projects that could use it. So I would go ahead and go through the normal submission process, get a hold of Marion, and then we would love to hear any of your sample work and see how we can possibly collaborate together in the future.
Awesome. Nathania asks, I'm wondering with the mentions of game tie-ins for Fable, if the teams will also work on games, or is that not in-house?
Yes. So yes, I saw that question come in earlier. So yes, everything is happening in-house for the interactive division. We are ramping up quite intensely, actually, this coming month, and are really looking to build out that side of the company. So yes, there's a lot of things happening internally.
Natalia asks, do you have any roles open that would be available to people without very much 3D experience? I know, Marion, you mentioned that there were some positions, and Monifa, you mentioned some production positions.
I think without very much 3D experience, one of the key roles when you're starting out is a generalist. The generalist role allows you to be involved from the start of things, and it also allows you to be in different departments. We need generalists all the way through our pipeline when it comes to turnover, when we're getting shots in, all the way into our render process. They help out within, again, all different departments. So they'll help out with lighting, they'll help within effects, CFX, all the way through the pipe. It's also a very good way of learning and absorbing more information. And some of our generalists, for instance, have taken a knack to said department, and we've been able to, move them into that department and continue their progression within the company. So I would definitely say that that is a starting point, and we're always looking for generalists with 3D experience or without limited 3D experience. Again, it's more about the openness that we're looking for.
Nishit asks, are there openings for Unreal technical artists?
Yes, a ton. Look, we're, at the end of the day, building off of what Monifa said, we are looking for people that are passionate about new technology, the new, every single update moving forward. I think it's safe to say that all of us at BRON Digital are love what we do, but are also kind of Unreal fanatics at night. So whenever we kind of see something during the day, we're always in the latest, looking up for the latest technology versions that come out of the engine through YouTube videos, keeping in touch with the Epic community as to what new versions come out, all the enhancements that come out. So long story short, yes, we are definitely interested in Unreal technical artists, but we also are just very, very much open to people that have an interest, even if it's in a hobbyist realm, interest in the engine, because that's half the battle, right? You have to love what you do. And I feel very, very confident in saying that all of our staff that we have on currently, that's 200 people, have a true passion for the engine and where it can go, and are always thinking about the future and thinking about how we can make better workflows and bringing their creativity to the process, whether it's in a technical or a physical perspective.
We have a couple of questions about reels and things to include in your reel. So we'll tackle these at the same time. Caitlin asked us, as a recent graduate looking to start gaining professional experience, any advice on how to stand out to studios, recruiters, and get a foot in the door?
I'm happy to take that one. So I remember last year, actually, in the Spark event session, we had a similar question. And so what we said and what we always say is like, your personal projects really matter, especially when you're a student and you don't have studio experience. Our, recruiters and our hiring managers, such as, for example, animation supervisors, they are looking at each reel. So do a lot of personal project and show that to us. For example, one time we had this amazing environment modeler, and we didn't have a junior opening for her, but we only had a senior opening, right? And we saw her demo reel, and the work was so amazing and so beautiful that we said, okay, let's create an opportunity for her. And we actually hired her on Monifa's show. So yeah, I guess, when you don't have a lot of experience, that's okay. Just make sure that you work on your personal projects and you show that to us. That really matters.
And the other thing to add, with the resources that are out there right now, from Epic alone, in terms of tutorials, just the education that's out there on just hobbyists that are publishing videos on gameplay or simulation and effects. Unreal 5 just released a whole slew of updates for, Epic just released a whole slew of updates for Unreal 5 that are still in beta form. So like fluid simulations and simulations in general are becoming quite impressive in the new version of the engine. I would encourage you all to look at some of the tutorials that are pretty fascinating and do them for yourself, because that's what I do in my free time when I'm curious about a certain piece of subject matter. But it says something. It says that you can create things on your own, and in doing so, even though it's step by step and you need to pause it about 50 times like I do, you would have created something and learned something about how the mechanics work, or how a Niagara system plays well with another one, or anything like that. So I encourage you to really use the community, the Epic community, as a backbone. And even if you think that you don't have enough content to put on your reel, even though if it's a small clip, maybe do 50 tutorials. And then by the end of that, you'll have, a minute-long clip of all your hard work that you've put forward. And that will definitely stand out in the marketplace.
Stephen was asking specifically about junior animators and what you're looking for in their reels.
I would say in terms of junior animators, it's hard to say, obviously, because there's certain limited amounts, but a sense of variety. Sometimes I think that obviously with animation, especially when you're starting out, you usually get the gigs where it's very much more hard surface type of creature work or characters and such. So I would say variety. If you can add in different projects that you've done, something that is slightly different from what you're used to. I would also say some close-up facial is also handy as well for team members. Yeah. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just something that you've worked on or tested out, you know, because it shows at least your variety in what you like to do. And then also put something in there that you are comfortable with and just highlights, you know, that you're a boss animator.
And one little freebie that I'll give you, if you want to add to your animation reel any kind of close-ups, the one thing we always look for, and this is a free piece of information, are small little eye darts in performances. That's a dead giveaway of like, okay, we'll look twice at this now. So just a freebie there, just to keep in mind. Small eye darts.
Okay. Often I see comments from our animation supervisors, and they are saying, you know, this person could push the acting choice a little bit more. So that's something that I've read a lot in the comments, where when we decide potentially not to go with a profile, like this is something I've seen often.
Yeah. Great.
There's a couple of questions about positions. And the sheet asks about the technical artist that's not actually listed on the website as an open position. And someone else asks, you know, are there XR productions in the works? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
We have the position I showed you were the master gent. We also have some positions that are always open because we know that potentially we are gonna need people in the future, so we want to leave it open so that we can collect applicants. But BRON Digital is growing anyway, so we are only going to have more and more opportunities in production, artistic roles, gaming interactive, Unreal generalists, so technical artists as well, pipeline, rigging. So yeah, I don't know if I answered this question, but just apply. Go for it.
And actually, Dorian asks, they say that they applied for the production assistant opening in LA. Is this a timed position or contracted work?
It's contracted work right now, yes. But again, with our roles that we're looking for, we're always looking for key people to keep people on, to roll them onto other projects as we go. Obviously, you know, you want people to start out and see how they go and such, but I will, thank you, Dorian. I will take a look at your CV.
We actually had another question that kind of ties into something a little more broader as well, that was mailed in. Stephen asked, what does work represent to you?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh my word.
Work represent to you?
For me, it's like, it's very cliche for an HR person, so sorry for that. Don't judge me. But I guess it's the people that I work with. Like, this is one of the most important things for me at work. And not sure I'm totally answering the question, but for me, work represents, you know, a place where I go, where I spend actually more time than with my family sometimes. And I feel like it's, you know, it just represents a place where I feel confident that I can grow and I can work with people I really like. And I think at BRON, this is definitely a company that tick these two boxes for a lot of us. So that's super important for me. Okay, I'm done.
Go ahead, Mon.
Thank you. I think that ironically, work should represent not the traditional feeling of work, as it were. Work should be something that you look forward to, that you're excited about, that you enjoy getting into certain sessions and discussions about. I'm not saying you're going to feel like that every single day of your life, But work shouldn't feel like a traditional slog. It should feel like something that you're pushing to and you're driving to, and you're challenged. Work should feel like a challenge and an important one, because if we're not, we get bored very easily and then we stop trying. And I can happily say that what I'm describing is where we work, which is at BRON Digital. There are other places sometimes you work and you continue on and you slog, but yeah, work should ironically not feel like work.
I totally agree with that. And that's such a good question, because I think we're all really happy to say that it's also a place where work should be a place where you can be heard, but also feel a sense of achievement every single day as you end your day, whether it's whether it's lighting a shot or adding that extra finesse into a performance and animation, or even like, crazy person I am, completing a really granular spreadsheet sometimes, and cracking a script or something like that. But every single day, even though sometimes, like Mon said, there's going to be tougher days than others, when we all, that's also kind of ties into what Marion was saying before. That's why we have these Aloha Friday sessions, is that we give our crews an opportunity to share all their hard work, whether it's a new tool, or if it's a 2D image or an illustration or even a spreadsheet. We share a lot of the accomplishments, not just the flashy things, but the really technically brilliant things that are coming out. It's very humbling, but also it gives us a sense of that what we're doing is pretty amazing, and we get to really call this work when it's not, and it's a lot of fun.
Somebody actually asked a really great question as well, and that is, what does the work day at BRON look like? And with the different time zones, and what does that look like for you guys?
Yeah.
Mon, I'll leave this to you.
Yeah, precisely. I think on my project, I think I have the most team members in New Zealand. So just to give a brief consensus, our production team is split between Vancouver and LA. So we're all in the same time zone when it comes to our production team. How we start off is morning meetings, catching up with certain things, making sure that departments have rounds. We're checking in on our artists who are within our time zone. And then between the 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. window is where all the fun happens. We make sure that our production meeting is at the appropriate time, so we have all of our members in there. I have a catch up with all of the team. It's going through major things that are happening on a project, smaller things that are happening on a project, but it just allows everyone to be involved and incorporated and understand exactly what's going on. We then continue on with review sessions with our teams. We jump into sessions with our generalists and go through work. We have troubleshooting questions or flags. We do kickoffs in terms of our scenes, make sure that our supervisors and leads and their artists also ask the questions that they need answered before we start work. And a large portion of that is, again, still reviewing work, going through processes. And then in between slots, we have interviews with Marion, grabbing people as we go. But again, our large portion of it is fitting in windows of time to make sure that all of our team members are there. If there is a point where a meeting can't happen, unfortunately, because someone's there, we make sure it's recorded, or we give people updates, as it were. It has been strange doing this at the start, but thankfully our team has been fantastic, and we are very strong in terms of working out our schedule now when it comes to people in different locations.
For sure. And the other thing to add to that too is that this is very much what Monifa described, very much is the artist-centric side of it too. At the same time, there's also voiceover sessionings happening in the background, motion capture shoots happening. And actually we've kind of adopted live sessions. And what live sessions mean are they're either live generalist and art direction sessions or lighting sessions. So what that means is that we'll all collectively hop on one Zoom and sit with some of our production designers. Rob, for example, you could be sitting in the same Zoom as a two-time Academy nominated production designer, Ra, who will be art directing a shot, your shot, and then moving on. Same goes with lighting. We have amazing, amazing cinematographers that come in from our live action background. So for example, Dan Mindel, who was a cinematographer for the Star Trek and Star Wars and just a few small projects here and there. And also Ben Davis, who just lit the Eternals, all the Kingsman films, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and they all remote in, and you'll have the exposure to work with these amazingly talented folks one-on-one. And that's the one thing when I mentioned learning in the beginning, it's very much that, because I think we're at a transition right now in the industry where everyone is getting to know what the engine can do, and everyone's a beginner. No one's an expert yet. And it keeps on changing with every single version, every single preview that comes out. So now's the time to really come in and learn as much as we can and grow together.
And Nishit actually has another question about the engine and how it's being used by BRON.
Sure.
He asks, how do BRON studios use Unreal? Previs or TechViz or virtual reality or Simulcam or virtual production? Do you use it to render final pixel from MRQ or just pre-production work?
No. So we don't have a compositing pipeline at BRON Digital. Because we are collaborative tech partners with Epic Games, it is our mission to try and get the highest level images out of the engine natively. And we are doing that. We're trying to, correct everything in pre-production, go into our motion capture shoots, shoot live with data streaming into the engine, compiling our scenes, using megascans to our advantages, lighting in real time, doing virtual cameras in real time, and then pushing things through. So we really pride ourselves in keeping as much within the engine as possible, because we find that if you kind of break things out and try and ingest, there's a whole nother workflow that goes in. And we found our speediest deliverables come from workflows that stem from the engine from the early onset.
We have time for a few more questions. We're almost out of time, but we have 3 questions left. We'll try to get through these before we wrap up. Sri asks, I'm currently here on a study permit. Would I need a work permit if I get hired at BRON while I am enrolled on a program?
I think so, because you will be limited with 20 hours per week of work. And right now we are only hiring for full-time, 40 hours per week. So I think when you get to the post-grad work permit, that would be ideal for us for hiring.
We already talked a little bit about things to include in your reel, and someone asks, would showing animation in Unreal influence your hiring decisions for juniors?
I think that when it comes to this, we're not at the illusion at all that, people are traditionally working in Maya. Which is what some of our artists, some of our animators are also doing here. So it wouldn't necessarily, bring you to the top, but it would help in terms of just seeing your range, whether you're animating in Unreal or if you're animating in Maya. We take a look at reels that are like playblasts, and grayscale. So it's not, we're not pushing for you to do animation and then render it and then pass it to us, we want to see your style, more importantly.
One thing to add, for junior animators and demo reel, often because you guys go to the same schools or have the same teachers and work on the same animation, like often we are gonna see pretty much the same demo reel. So it's tied to what I was saying before, when you have personal work as well, Unreal or not, when you have personal work on the side, this definitely helps make a difference, because obviously, when you study and you have all the other animators with you and such, it's pretty hard sometimes to make a difference. So again, personal work is always super welcome.
We have a couple of more questions. Do you hire concept artists, character and environmental designers?
We definitely do. beauty about us being also a studio is that, yes, we have 3 projects currently in active production, but we always have about 5 other projects in various stages of development. So we are always on the lookout for unique voices, styles, just perspectives on different types of characters, environments, even 2D concept work. So yes, we always take that into consideration and always try and find the correct concept artist from the early onset that fit the narratives of our shows.
Right now, I don't think we have posts open online for arts department, but you can always apply to the expression of interest
Correct.
with your demo reel, so that we can look later on when we're hiring.
And the final question that we've got is, what do you expect in technical reels for Unreal technical artists?
For me, I guess it's just a basic understanding and navigation of the engine as a whole. Any kind of blueprints that you may have created, any kind of really just kind of an overall sense of how to make things run a little bit more efficiently, whether it's just, like I said, blueprint tools, any outside tools that were created that can make workflows more fluid between departments, animation ingest into the engine, lighting tools, et cetera, et cetera. So really it's a broad understanding on how engines work across different departments. And if there's anything you want to add, Mon.
I mean, I think, yeah, no, you said everything. In terms of what we look for, I think as well, sometimes it's hard to add that into a reel. So even putting that in a description in terms of your CVs and such as well is super key, just so we can see it, you know, we can read exactly what you've done or what you've tested out. And then also maybe adding in, I would say, your cover letter, how you would like to sort of push the boundaries of what you've been working on, but also something that you would like to learn, because we also want to make sure that, you know, we're hiring people, but you're also taking something out of this as well. Is there a time limit for reels? I would say there should be a time limit for reels. I think it's dependent on, you know, what role that you're hiring for. But I would say, Marion, what would you say, like 2 minutes?
Yeah, 2 to 3 minutes is generally good.
Exactly. I can understand,
but
within animation, it might be less, especially if you're starting out. That's understandable. But
yeah,
you could also
exactly.
be an effects artist, and, you know, 2 to 3 minutes is a good range. We're not looking for 5 minutes. We're not looking for 60 seconds. You know, just it will stand out what your work is, you know, regardless.
And remember, we have a lot of applicants, so put your best work first in your demo reel. I know it's a kind of an evidence for a lot, but for other people it's not. So just keep your best work at the beginning always. So that then we don't click, you know, okay, next and yeah,
it's that situation of, you know, don't leave the best food on the plate last. It's have it first. That would be great.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I guess look at all our openings always on our career website, on LinkedIn, and yeah, ask us any questions and connect on LinkedIn if you have any additional questions as well.
Great.
So we're pretty much out of time. I don't know, Marion, Monifa, Jason, do you guys have anything to add before we sort of wrap things up?
I saw just a quick question come in about a Vimeo link. That's not a problem at all in terms of portfolios. But also just thank you all for taking the time to hear about us at BRON, and we look forward to hearing from you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll leave you with one last thought, is that one of our, and I always love this story and I always say it and remember it, is we had a variety of positions open for Fables as we were continuing forward. And one of our applicants, the week before we hired him, was working at a Costco pulling carts in the rain. And what he did is he saved up his money, bought a graphics card, and was a hobbyist at night. We hired him the next week, and he's been one of our strongest generalists to have ever joined the company, and continues to perform. So what I want to leave you with is that we believe in people, we believe in growth within, and no matter how you know, how you think of your own work, whether it's not, you know, not good enough to show, you never know what's going to happen, because you know, that passion really drives, and that's something that we really look for, is the passion behind the hard work and the artwork. So don't be afraid to submit because you don't think that your work is good enough. There's always opportunities in general. So thank you all for taking the time, really appreciate it, and we hope to see many of you soon.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and hope to see you on our recruitment event, which would be next week. So you will have the opportunity to chat with some of our digital team members and production artists, HR. So really, really looking forward to meet with you.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, awesome. So yes, thank you, Marion, Monifa, and Jason for taking the time to speak with us today. Thanks to everybody that joined in. As Marion mentioned, the recruiting day is happening next week on May the 3rd. To be exact, we're going to be opening up registrations and requests for one-on-one appointments very, very soon. So we'll let you all know once that's open. Again, thank you all for joining us. I want to take another moment to thank our sponsors who allow us to be able to put these events together. Our Terabyte sponsor, Creative BC. Our Megabyte sponsors, AMPD Technologies, Animal Logic, Capilano University, and Netflix. Our Kilobyte sponsors, Atomic Cartoons, Bardell Entertainment, BRON, DNEG, Mainframe Studios, and Sony Pictures Imageworks. Our Byte sponsors, AMD Canada, Animasia Animation, the Center for Digital Media, CMPA BC, DigiBC, Foundry, Ghost VFX, NGX Interactive, Nox VFX, Skyline VFX, The Little Dev Shop, Unreal Engine, Versatile Media, and the Wacom Store Canada, and our partners, ACM SIGGRAPH. Thank you everyone again for your time this afternoon, and I hope to see you all on our one-on-one recruiting day next week. So until then, bye all.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank
Thank you.
you.